morning and welcome to another video. My name is Emily and I am so glad that you are here today. I was toying back and forth with the idea of filming a podcast today, but then I realized that I wasn't quite ready because I have a very exciting, special, can you see me? Thing that I wanted to talk about in my podcast, and the yarn's not quite dry yet. I have a little clip that I took that I'll put up here while I'm talking, showing it a little bit closer in detail, but I'm very excited about it. I dyed it up yesterday and it turned out different than I expected, but better than I expected. So more on that in the next podcast, which I'm hoping to film in the next day or two and then have ready by the weekend. But today we're going to be talking about summer knitting plans. I have never made any sort of like official summer garment. I don't know. I don't think I've made like one or two short sleeved sort of things, but I've never made like a cotton blend sort of garment. So this year is the year that I am planning to do that, and I wanted to kind of talk about a few of the projects that I am hoping to make that are specifically summer oriented, or yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling and go ahead and get to it. I have 2 bundles of yarn to talk about, and then I have a couple of patterns that are on my radar, but we'll see if I end up making them. So I have 3 patterns, 2 that I'm for sure planning to make, and the 3rd one that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make, but I'm not quite set on it yet. So let's talk about this bag first. So in the top here I have 4 skeins of the Hobby Lobby Yarn Bee Cotton yarn that I originally purchased to make a summer souffle top, which is a pattern by Laura of Penrose Knits, and I really loved this color. It was on a clearance sale for $1.24 a skein, and I realized when I was trying, this is my partially torn out swatch, but I was swatching and I was realizing that my gauge was way bigger than what the gauge called for in the pattern, and I realized that this yarn is a good bit thicker, even though from what I remember, because I remember buying it specifically for that pattern, and I guess I just assumed that this was going to be the right size because I calculated, you know, yards per grams and everything. So I was like, I figured it out, but it's just thicker than the yarn that Laura used in that pattern. So I kind of stalled out on that project and never finished it. And I think with this, I still would like to try and make that pattern, but possibly just maybe go down a size or 2. I have to play around with some stuff on it, so that's why it's just been sitting in my stash. So there's that yarn. And then this is the yarn that I'm hoping to actually make a summer souffle out of. I was able to purchase some of the Knit Picks cotton, which is a DK weight, 70% cotton, 30% linen, 123 yards per 50 grams. And I have it, and this is the color Surf, and this is the color Planetarium. And I only have 2.5 balls of this one, and I think 5.5 balls of this one. So my plan is I haven't actually double checked to see how many yards I would need to make a summer souffle, but my plan is that if I don't have enough in just the Surf colorway, that I will do some sort of striping with this colorway, the Planetarium colorway, and I'm toying with possibly doing a mashup of 2 patterns. I have been knitting the Festival Sweater by Petite Knit, and I love the bobble stripe detail, and I realized that that would be so easy to plug into the summer souffle pattern because you'd probably have to fudge it a little bit because the stitch counts aren't going to be exactly calculated to match up with that bobble pattern, but it would be really easy to add that in because I'm not planning to do the ruffle on it. I feel like that might be a little bit too much, like with my bust size and everything, it might not work, but I just love the very classic t-shirt shape of the summer souffle, so that's what I'm thinking about doing with that. And I was able to, I can't remember if I mentioned this, buy this off of a D-stash, and was able to get it for a phenomenal price. And I am so, so happy to have this. I have actually not worked very much with Knit Picks yarn, like, at all. So I'm super excited to try it out. The next pattern that I'm planning to make is sort of a summer, sort of a knot top. I don't have the yarn picked out for it yet. It is the Fauset crop pattern by Devin of Knitty McPurly, and I have been wanting to knit this pattern for a few months now, and then on her most recent podcast episode, Devin announced that there's going to be a Fauset along for April and May, and it was perfect timing. The pattern was on sale. I had been toying back and forth with buying it for weeks, so I purchased the pattern, and I'm planning to just use stash yarn for it. I'm sure that I can find 3 different colors that go together, but I haven't quite figured that out just yet. And I say that it may be a summer project and it may not be, because it is going to be in a wool nylon blend, and even though it's a short sleeve, where I live in Tennessee it gets very humid, so I don't know that I would really be able to wear it in the summertime, but I could definitely see myself wearing it in like early spring or like later fall when it starts getting cool and I can wear it with like a long sleeve t-shirt underneath, and it would be amazing. So I'm still kind of classifying that as a summer project because it's one of the projects that I want to knit this summer, or spring summer. But I don't know that I would actually wear it during the summertime. So the next projects, it's actually 2 projects that I want to make, are in this lovely bag of yarn. I am very highly anticipating the release of the Tulsa tea pattern, which is a pattern that is supposed to be coming out in early May. It's a pattern designed by Rebecca of the Kroy podcast, and I fell in love with the pattern, like the samples that she's shown on her podcast, and I knew immediately that I wanted to try and make it. I have been wearing a lot more like tops and skirts than I used to with breastfeeding and whatnot, and so I realized that I really like the look of that as just a classic simple tee that I can pair with skirts for the summer, and I think it will be amazing. So I was able to purchase some Drops Bell. Here's one of the colors that I got. I'll show you the other ones in a second. This is a blend of 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. And this is the yarn that Rebecca used for, I think it was her first sample or maybe her second sample. I don't remember. But she specifically mentioned that she used Drops Bell for one of her samples. And I've been wanting to try out some more Drops yarn for a while. I've used the Drops Fable, which is the sock yarn, but that's the only one that I've used. And so this was perfect because it's a summery cotton blend yarn and it's drops. So it worked. And this one, it's really annoying because they'll have the color names online, but they won't have it on the label. So this is the color 13. And I purchased this off of Etsy from a Etsy shop called Sun Yarn Studio, which is where I've purchased all of my Drops yarn so far. They have really good prices and the shipping is relatively quick. And if you purchase over, I think it's $45 maybe, you get free shipping. So excellent. So this one is one that I'm planning to make just a plain basic t-shirt with this, and then the other colors that I got, I'm not going to show you all or hold up all of them, but I got these 3 colors to make a striped version of the Tulsa tee, and I'm very excited about this. This color is colorway number 4. It's 04. This one is number 15. And this one is number 16. And I got 2 balls of each of these colors and then 3 balls of this one because I'm planning to use this one for all of the ribbing details and then stripe it with these throughout the sweater. And I'm really looking forward to it because this is a color combo that I've wanted to do in some sort of, it was originally sewing. Years and years ago, I saw 3 cotton yarns that were basically these colors, and I thought, oh, that would make a really beautiful tiered skirt, and I just never ended up doing that. So I'm gonna do it with this, and I'm now very tempted to try and go and get some cotton yarns in these colors and make a tiered skirt, because now that I'm wearing skirts more, it would be amazing. So, but that is my plan for my second Tulsa, and depending upon how those turn out, I may purchase some more drops Bell to make more of them, because I'm anticipating loving this pattern. It just looks, I tend to prefer a heavier t-shirt because with my bust size and the bras that I have to wear and whatnot, I find that the really light, clingy t-shirt material will show the outlines of my bras really well, and it shows like every lump and bump and whatnot. And so I generally prefer kind of the, I don't know, the cheaper, like thicker cotton t-shirts. And so I'm anticipating loving these. If I don't, and that's fine, and I will use this yarn for another summer project, probably another summer souffle, depending upon whether or not I like that, or technically you could even use something like this for a Fauset tee because it's DK weight. And I thought about that yesterday, I think. Yeah, like yesterday, that I realized that technically I could just get enough drops Bell and make a summer version of the Fauset tee, but I'm going to start with making a Fauset tee out of my, or Fauset crop, that's what it is, out of my stash, and then again, if I love the pattern, I'll buy some more of this yarn. So, that's my main plans. I grabbed this ball of Drops Cotton Light that I just needed something like $1 or $2 to bump me over into the free shipping bracket. So I grabbed this, which is just a really pretty sagey green, and it's 50% cotton and 50% polyester. And so I'll probably try and knit something, I don't know, something little with this and see if I like the yarn and how it drapes and whatnot. And if I do, I might try and get some of this to do some summer knitting, but we'll see. Right now I'm going to try and very much work with what I have. If you watched my most recent video, which thank you if you did, I was talking about how I want to really try, especially over this summer, to knit through some of my stash stuff and make the projects that I've been dreaming of making for ages. So we're going to be holding off on purchasing any more yarn until I kind of get a gauge for what I want and whether or not I really love these patterns. So, and the only other specific project that I definitely want to try and get to this summer is out of this yarn. Also, apologies for my squeaky chair. I need to get a new desk chair so badly. I can't remember if I've mentioned this in a video before, but it's one of those ones that has the lever that goes up and down, and I don't know what it is, the spring or something, it just broke, and so now it always stays at the lowest level, and so I just have to be careful of that. Anyway, I bought this Yarn Bee Pigment and Fiber Fridays in Florence set. Oh goodness. It's been in my stash a long time, maybe like 2 years. And I was toying back and forth. I couldn't decide what I wanted to make with it. This is a 60% acrylic, 20% wool, 20% nylon blend. It's fingering weight, and it's a total of 630 yards. I don't know if it tells me. Okay, it doesn't tell me exactly how much each one of these are. But yeah, as you can see, we've got 6 different colors: creamy, brown, mustardy, burgundy, tealy, greeny, and then blue. And I watch Anna Knitter's podcast, and she It's been, maybe it was her most recent podcast or the one before. She made a granny stitch crochet shawl, and I love how that looks so much. And then Gaina of Tales from Cuckoo Land shared her like super scrappy granny stitch shawl that she was making, and I realized like this is absolutely perfect for that. I can do like stripes or yeah, no, stripes. That's what I'm planning to do, is just kind of stripe it throughout until I use up like all of the yarn, and then just cast off and you're done. And I've used up this yarn out of my stash. So that's something that I'm planning to do this summer, because I feel like it's a nice lightweight and it'll be kind of breezy and nice, and it'll be perfect for once fall comes, because these are very like, in my mind, fall tone colors. Once fall time arrives, I'll be able to have a nice shawl that I can put over my shoulders. And I know that granny stitch things are not necessarily the most, because they have so many holes in them, they're not necessarily the most like warm, but it'll be fine for like fall times and around the house to just put over my shoulders. Because especially recently with pregnancy and nursing and everything, I have been running so much warmer than I used to, so it might be nice to have a not super thick, bulky shawl. But yeah, so that's my plan to try and do with this. I might change my mind. The other option would be to make some scrappy socks with it and see how they do, because it's a similar blend to the Barocco vintage sock. It just has a higher percentage of acrylic and a lower percentage of wool. So I just don't know how it would wear as far as socks, but I think it would be perfect for a shawl. So those are all of the projects that I specifically have planned. Other than, actually there is one more. Let me grab the yarn for that out of my yarn chest quickly, and I'll be right back. I almost forgot. I told myself when I was planning this video, don't forget to talk about this one, and I almost forgot anyway. In May, I am going to be doing a little knit along with Stephanie of Texas Peach Knits, and we are going to be knitting ourselves socks. We both purchased this Midnight Orchid colorway Patons Kroy yarn. I'm all upside down. We both purchased this Patons Kroy yarn in the Midnight Orchid colorway when Hobby Lobby was recently clearancing out all of their Patons Kroy, and we were both planning to make socks with it. So she asked me if I was interested in doing a little knit along, and I was like, absolutely. So I'm very excited about it. So in the month of May, we're going to be knitting up some socks. And she also mentioned they were going to be perfect for Mother's Day, which is true. This is my first official Mother's Day. I feel kind of, I know some people probably wouldn't agree with me, but I felt pretty weird about classifying myself as being able to celebrate Mother's Day last year, even though I was pregnant. So it's like technically, but I was like, I don't actually have a child like born yet, so yeah. But this year I can officially say, you know, I can celebrate Mother's Day. Which is weird. It happens faster than you think. Anyway, so I haven't decided on a specific pattern for these yet. I'm toying with just doing a vanilla sock, which is probably what I will end up doing, but I'm also thinking about doing them 2 at a time. I'm going to be doing some traveling in May, and I won't be home for like 3 weeks, so these are going to be the perfect project for working on, because they're going to be small and portable and all that fun stuff. So that's the last like officially planned project. Then I did have 3 or 4 other patterns that I'm thinking about potentially trying to make, but they're lower down on the priority list. The first one is the Anchors Summer Shirt by Petite Knit. I really like the look of the Anchors pattern. I have the Anchors sweater pattern, and I didn't realize that there was a summer version of it. So I'm really tempted to get that pattern and make it, but again, lower down on the priority list. The next one is a pattern that has not been released, has not been designed completely as far as I know. It's just one that has been hinted at, and I am crossing my fingers and hoping that the designer decides to come out with it because I love the look of her other pattern. So this is the Midlands summer top that Laura of Penrose Knit has hinted at. She made the Midlands cardigan, which is one of the most beautiful patterns that I have seen. It's squishy garter stitch. It's knit side to side, so it's a really interesting construction. It's got a double knit button band. It looks amazing. I definitely want to knit one. But then she also talked about possibly making a summer version of it, and like just not a cardigan, but like a crew neck summer tee version. I am just hoping that she will continue to feel the desire to make that pattern because I want it to be a thing so badly. But we'll see. As I said, that's a pattern that has not even come out, so it's very likely that I may not even get to ever make it, but I am hoping. And then the next two are actually fingering weight patterns. The first one is I believe it's the Rosa tee. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself on the screen. By Along avec Anna, and it's just this really pretty feminine looking tee. It's fingering weight yarn. It's got picot edging on all of it. I think it has like a little keyhole detail in the back neckline. It looks so beautiful. The only thing that is holding me back from making that pattern is that I would need to get some fingering weight cotton blend yarn, and I haven't completely decided what kind of fingering weight cotton blend yarn to get because it's knit in the Fauset something, and unfortunately here in the States it's really difficult to get the Fauset yarns without having to pay an arm and leg for it. So there's that. I know that there's a Knitting for Olive's cotton merino blend, but Knitting for Olive is definitely out of my budget range right now. It's pretty pricey, again, because it's imported from the UK, so it's not, or not the UK. Is it France? I don't know. It's imported from somewhere else, another country across the ocean from the US, so it is much more expensive. And then I also know that Knit Picks, I believe, has a fingering weight yarn, but it's a little pricier. It's not terribly expensive because Knit Picks' whole thing is that they're kind of budget friendly, but I think it's like $8 for a 50-gram ball. And if I would need, like, I don't know, I'm pulling numbers out of the air. If I need 300 grams of fingering weight yarn to make this tee, that's a lot. That's like $50 for a little t-shirt. So that's kind of been my sticking point with that pattern. And then the last one is the Diggory Tee by Devon of Knitty McPurly, and it hasn't been released yet. She's in the process of designing it. I very well may try to test knit it. We'll see. But it knit out of just a fingering weight wool, cotton, or wool and nylon blend. I think she's just using her, or maybe it's not nylon, maybe, I don't know. It's just knit out of a standard fingering weight yarn. So the only issue with that is that then it would probably be much warmer and I would only be able to wear it in like spring and fall. So that's kind of the, I don't know. That's what I'm toying with the idea of trying to knit that one because it's also knit bottom up, so it's a different construction. I haven't done a lot of bottom up things, and it's fun to kind of stretch myself a little bit to do something different. So, but yeah, that is all of the spring summer knitting plans that I have. I would love to hear if you have any spring or summer knitting plans, if there's a pattern that you're really excited about knitting that's either out or is coming out soon. I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I really wanted to try and do some summer knitting last year. It just didn't happen. I was heavily pregnant and tired and just all that jazz, so it just didn't happen. And I'm really looking forward to doing it this year. But thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm planning to have a podcast up in the next few days. And I hope you stay tuned for my exciting announcement as far as yarn. Yeah. I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye!